your stream is live, so it fought us for a little while, but there you go. Apparently we are. Yes, we are. We are. Good morning and welcome to Elevensies, the late morning show with Lisa and Anton. I'm Anton, in case you didn't know.
And I'm Lisa.
So now you know.
And I'm always tired.
Why? Why? Have more coffee. Look, I'm on my...
The time change thing really messes me up.
Oh, yeah, no, that's weird. You know, but we gained an hour.
I know, even though that, I was just saying, even though we supposedly gained an hour, it messes me up. Anyway, it's Magickal Moonday, and we've got a lot to talk to you about today. We're going to take advantage of giving you some insights for the coming full moon and the close of this astrological year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like us to start out by looking at the idea of lunar astrology.
Lunar astrology.
Lunar astrology. Now, when we think about it, we know that ancient people, Babylonians, Assyrians, Egyptians, ancient people were very, very interested. Italians, you know, Roman people, and Celtic people were all people, in fact, Hopi, Native Americans. Everybody was very, very interested in watching the sky.
Well, they didn't have television to watch.
Oh, come on.
Or YouTube.
All right. But the point that I want to make before I get derailed is that the sun shines so brightly, but you really, during the day, can't see much other than the sun and sometimes the moon, depending on the moon's phase.
Yes, yes.
And solar astrology kind of predicts what's happening on the planet, right? As the sun moves, we have the seasons. But if we think about it, the reason lunar astrology became so popular is because at night you could see the constellations, you could see the phases of the moon changing, you could see the aspects of things towards each other, you could see the Big Dipper changing, and it could also predict the seasons. So we see many cultures that really revere the moon and lunar astrology more so than our Western solar astrology. But to be a really good astrologer, you kind of need a bit of well-roundedness. You need to understand, especially if you're going to be part of the craft of the wise, if you're going to be Wiccan, you need to understand the energy of the connection between the sun and the moon. Right?
Oh, yes.
And when we have an eclipse, sometimes the sun marries the moon, and you'll see that ring around the edge, which may be where we get the custom of a wedding ring.
As in the annular, yeah? Annular eclipse, where you just see the ring, where the one disc doesn't quite cover the other one. Hello, Michelle, by the way. Where the one disc, so you just get that
right, and that bright golden ring became a symbol of the union of the god and goddess, day and night.
How bloody hell, how fascinating.
But it also became a symbol of the union of people.
A ring, put a ring on it.
Yeah, all right.
Put a ring on it. Well, there you go. So
that's where I'm going to begin today. That's kind of cool stuff.
Although it's a lunar eclipse that's coming up.
Right. Well, yeah. No, but we want to you know, sometimes a little foundation or background helps you to start your thinking process.
Yes.
And being a good witch is part of understanding how to think.
There is a requirement to think.
Yes.
Yes. It is often said that Wicca is, if you will, the thinking person's religion. because you are urged to think about things and to look closely. And, you know, you're the only one who can have the experiences. Nobody can
It's
have
a mystery
them for
path,
you.
isn't it?
Nobody go, oh, well, you've got to do this, you know, genuflect or kneel or bow or whatever.
Right.
No, you've got to get the grey matter going.
You can be led to the rabbit hole, but nobody can have that excursion for you. You have to take the leap of faith yourself. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, which we haven't really talked much about on Elevensies this year, is that this is the year of the metal ox.
I wonder why you haven't covered that.
Yeah, in Chinese astrology. Now, Chinese astrology is a lunar-based astrology. It starts with the new moon in the beginning of the year. And this gets very confusing to people because the cycle usually starts with the new moon that's at the end of January or the beginning of February, right? So people think, January 1964, I'm dragon.
Not necessarily.
But the new moon that changed that calendar wasn't until February that year. So I am indeed a rabbit. I'm part of this 1963 cycle.
Of course you're a rabbit. You're a bunny.
Bunny. All right. So this coming year...
I just realised you have your moon.
I do. It's Moon Day.
Aren't I desperately observant?
And I've got a tree moon because we'll talk about that in a little bit too.
See,
all right.
There you go.
So
Morning,
Chinese astrology is based on the moon, and the Chinese New Year will begin February 4th, 2022. So we will move from metal ox into the year of the tiger.
Tigger, I'm a tigger.
You're a tigger.
I'm a tigger.
Because you're going to be 60.
I know, it goes in 12-year cycles.
12-year cycles.
It goes in 12-year cycles because, you know, whilst there are 12 signs of the zodiac, there are also 12 Chinese zodiac signs. Is that the word I'm looking for? Zodiac, by the way, interesting, I found this out, means circle of animals. Circle
the zoo.
Yes, circle of animals. So, yeah, I'm a tigger.
Right, so I'm a rabbit, he's a tiger. All right, so the year of the metal ox is one of the most prosperous years. So we'll find that many people, even though there's been this crazy pandemic, have received stimulus checks, have had a bounty of people buying from their websites. I mean, it has been a bountiful year, even though it has been a very disturbing year.
Well, I have to tell you, the pandemic didn't hurt Amazon one tiny little bit.
Exactly.
One tiny little bit. No.
And people are selling out of goods because they can't make them fast enough for people who are panic buying. Pandemic, panic, right? Okay.
Pandemonium.
All right. But what I really wanted to talk about is how fascinating things kind of zip together, right? So in the Craft of the Wise, we teach that the broom is used in the agricultural Sabbats.
Yes.
And the broom new moon usually happens very close to Kalangeaf or Samhain.
Yes.
And the broom features very strongly in
Kalangeaf rites.
In Kalangeaf rites and rituals.
Indeed.
So we'll see that connection between Celtic astrology of the broom sweeping the altar or the circle. And we see the connection between Chinese astrology and Western astrology happening later this month. How fascinating.
Fascinating, Captain.
All right.
Fascinating.
So for those of you who plan ahead, the full moon that's coming on the 19th, I think it's the 19th or the 20th. Anyway, it's the Taurus full moon.
Taurus full moon.
Now, what's the zoological animal for Taurus?
19th.
The 19th.
A bull. The bull.
A bull.
Taurus the bull. A bull in a china shop.
And we'll notice that the metal ox looks a lot like a bull. So bull and oxen are very similar.
Well,
energy, aren't they?
I believe they are, yes.
All right. So, what do you think is going to happen for this year's Taurus full moon? What's happening?
Well, we've got. We have an eclipse, though, don't we?
We have an eclipse.
We have an eclipse.
We have a partial eclipse.
But near total lunar eclipse, I believe it's
and
so.
It is going to be stalled. So the eclipse is going to take almost 2 hours.
Oh wow. Oh wow. So you're definitely gonna, if you can see it, you're gonna see that. Assuming, it's not cloud cover and all
So
that
there is definitely a focus on the oxen for the tail end of the oxen's year.
Well, you think about it, I mean, ox themselves or oxen, I think these are plural of oxen.
Yeah.
Oxen, they're not the world's fastest animal.
But they
But
endure.
they are, they can keep going. They can keep going, and they're very, very powerful. They've got great traction when they dig in. They can pull very, very strongly. So hence, typically we're used as probably the very first beast of burden in Celtic Iron Age.
Good morning, Jen.
Celtic,
Yep.
they would do the ploughing. They would do the ploughing
Right.
because they've got a tremendous amount, a lot more power than a horse, an awful lot more power than a horse.
All right, so there's
But
a
slower moving.
lot of focus on this full moon. And eclipses are very interesting. We've talked about this before. We've said that solar eclipses sometimes release masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like a man could be released from your life, or something that has more to do with aggressive, kind of masculine God force things.
Okay.
And lunar eclipses tend to focus more on feminine aspect of things. Female energies, things that you want to release that have connection to goddess things.
Yes.
So Taurus is also ruled by Venus.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be a really fantastic full moon to work either prosperity magic
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or love magic.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's the year of the metal ox, the conductor of wealth, I would suggest that prosperity would be the better working.
Mm.
So there's a little chant that you might like to use for your prosperity magic during the lunar eclipse of the Taurus full moon, which is very simple. Prosperity will wash debt off me, so mote it be.
And lather, rinse, repeat.
And the
Just
reason
keep saying
I'm
that.
using that word wash is because the sun is in Scorpio, fixed water.
Mm.
So the sun is in Scorpio, fixed water. The moon is in Taurus, fixed earth. This is a fantastic time to renew your wealth portfolio. Okay? Prosperity will wash debt off me, so mote it be. You can do that in the shower. You could do that with a bowl of water or a money cauldron or whatever you're going to do. But I'm giving you 2 weeks notice. Get on it.
Maybe if you could even get outdoors with a bowl of water and get the reflected light of the moon in it as well.
Yeah.
And there's some powerful energies there.
Take a picture of the eclipse. Take a picture of your bowl of water. In the bowl, get one of those gold dollar coins or some copper pennies, things that conduct energy, right? Maybe even a citrine crystal, something that's gold and wealth, or a green money crystal, something like that. Prosperity will wash debt off me. And do your chakras.
Yep.
Know it, see it, speak it, feel it, be it, live it,
Own it. Do it.
foundation it. Okay. I know that was really quick, but We are going to be doing some YouTube videos.
Oh, yes.
For different kinds of magic, where we'll share with you our traditions circle.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do, in the body of it, we'll do talking like this before we perform the magic. But I just wanted to give you, we really, really wanted to give you that heads up of what's coming this month so that you could prepare your things and put some effort and energy behind the work.
Exactly. You've got a couple of weeks to get your ducks in a row here. And we just had the new moon, all right? So we've got a fortnight,
right,
14 nights.
A fortnight, 14 nights. We just had the Broom new moon recently, and you've got about 2 weeks to get your act together.
Get your ducks in a row, because this is one of those most auspicious times, astrologically.
Yes.
Do not squander or waste this energy. You know,
right.
And don't think, and this is the trouble with spiritual people, and we're like this to a degree as well. It's just crass and rude to want to accumulate wealth. You know, that's taking away from somebody else. Nonsense. The universe has infinite resources. Yep. There is more than enough to go around, and inherently, people like us, we spread the wealth. We don't hoard it. We spread the wealth.
Right, and money isn't everything. It doesn't solve all of your problems, but not having to worry about your finances certainly makes your life easier.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And for us particularly...
You can afford food, you can afford your rent, you could afford your health care, you could afford whatever. Mm-hmm. It makes your life easier. It's not going to change your life emotionally, other than the fact that your life will be easier. So, manifest the money that you would like to for your bills, and start a prosperous trend. Right. We have the tail end of this oxen energy. We have this focus on the Taurus ox full moon, ruled by Venus. We have this eclipse, or this promise, this ring of energy, bringing the god and goddess together. Sun in Scorpio, moon in Taurus. This fixed water, fixed earth. What do you get when you mix water and earth together? You grow things.
You might get a bit of mud, but you know what? Mud is fertile. And here's the thing. This is not quick, fast gain, easy money kind of thing. Think about the energies we're dealing with here. The ox, slow and steady and powerful and enduring, and plowing a foundation, making the ground fertile for growth to occur, So think about that. Think about that with your magic. This is a really good time for long-term plans, long-term prosperity, changing the playing field, maybe even changing your attitude towards money, your attitude towards, not identifying as somebody who struggles, but somebody, because the ox just tucks in and does it. They've got an awful lot of power and a lot of endurance there. So harness that energy and make it tasteful, because Venus, the energy of Venus, not cheap and tacky. Tasteful.
Sometimes a random act of kindness goes a really long way. Towards keeping the cycle of abundance going. One of our readers, Lori, very frequently will pay for the person behind her in line at a drive-up. And several times that's happened for her. Somebody's paid for her.
How wild is that?
So,
what goes around comes around, quite literally. Yeah.
So think about how you want to set this energy in motion too. But prosperity will wash debt off me, so mote it be. It's simple, it's rhythmic, and you can use that to reset the end of this year, right? From that full moon on the 19th until the new moon, February 4th, when we move into the year of the Tiger. So really focus on that. Celtic astrology is based on lunar astrology as well. And Anton and I have decided that we'd like to announce that we are going to open enrollment in a few days for an astrology class.
You've been asked a lot,
several times. So we're going to do a class one Sunday a month. So you have plenty of time
Please excuse our herd.
So you have plenty of time
Calm yourself.
to digest the work that we've done and put out there. So the class is going to be pretty intense. You
Always.
start out having no idea of even what the 12 signs are. You might only know your own sign. You might not even know your own sign. But the class starts
I'm
out...
the first person who's come to your class and found out, oh, heck, I'm actually a different sign.
Okay. Yep, because they use the word cusp and there isn't such a thing. But anyway, you don't even have to know your own zodiac sign when you start. And we learn about the signs and the planets and the houses and aspects. And at the end of the 12th class, you will be able to write horoscopes. So we're going to use this video and put it up on YouTube, not just the live version. We're going to put it up as one of our
sort of pseudo-educational
videos?
No, educational. It's not pseudo at all. Yeah, more educational and more sort of like if you're looking to find out about astrology, well, yeah, you've come to the right place.
Right.
So
and there'll be a link in that video, so look for it. There'll be a link in that video to sign up for the class.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 12 sessions.
12, of course.
Once a month for a year. And the class comes with a bunch of different books.
Some head-bleeding material.
Included in the class is going to be the Astrologers Handbook.
It's a very good book.
This was co-authored by Louis Acker, who was one of our readers at the shop when we opened our shop in Cherry Hill. And he's in his 80s now, but I'm still friends with him on Facebook. He's a lovely guy.
Knows his onions.
Oh my God. When you delve into this, you just can't believe it. In fact, one of my other readers, Margot, said that she only got into astrology because she wanted to poo-poo it. The more she learned, the more impossible it was to poo-poo it.
I love it when that happens.
Yeah.
I'm done to debunk this complete bunch of nonsense, and then you realise, hang on a minute.
And I remember right before the store burned at Cherry Hill, Louis did my transit reading, and he said, "You're going to buy a computer, and it's going to change your life." And I said, "Louis, I'm not buying a computer."
I can't stand
and
computers.
he said, No, it's right here. It's right here in your chart. You're going to buy a computer, and it's going to change your life. Well, don't you know the store burned down? I bought a computer, and through that computer, I met him.
That is very true.
So I did buy a computer, and it did change my life. So the Astrologer Handbook comes in there. Then we also get this book called Planets in Aspect. So we can learn how, when one planet is shining a particular angular light on another, what it's doing within our chart to give us strength or a weakness. So this book itself is like $30, I think.
Yep. But wait, there's more.
And then, of course, you know, there's those books out there called The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need, but they lie because you need an ephemeris.
Plural of which is ephemeris.
You will learn the language of astrology, and you'll be able to read this crazy book.
It's a bunch of tables. It's all lines and lines and lines and lines.
So this is a $30 book as well. But you'll get these as we go along. Mm-hmm. And then towards the end, when you're learning to write horoscopes, you'll get this little tome called Planets in Transit by Bob Hand. And you'll be able to say, oh, Saturn right now is in Aquarius.
What does it mean?
Saturn is in the same sign as my Saturn. We're having our Saturn return. Fantastic time for us to lay a new foundation and build some wonderful new
Saturn
structure.
cycles are so important. They really, really are. So, you know, this is the part where you, if you like, start to reap what you've sown, but also sow again using your heirloom seeds this time. The absolute
exactly. The
wonderful
chickens come
stuff.
home to roost, yeah.
Yep, absolutely, Gilda. And good morning, everybody. I haven't had a chance, because we've been talking a lot. I haven't had a chance to say good morning, John, good morning, Pam, good morning, Wendy, and good morning, Gilda. And yes, it will be online via Zoom.
We will.
We've learned how to do this really, really well on Zoom.
So no matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to take the astrology class, and we'll be able to send you the, there's almost a 200-page workbook. These four books that you learn how to read, almost a 200-page workbook, 2 hours of lecture, and a 30-minute question time. So the classes are 1 to 3:30, the last Sunday of the month. The classes are $40 a piece, but we're talking about over $100 in books. So,
It's, if you really want to learn about astrology, and I have to tell you, Lisa is a hell of a teacher. She really, really is. She just has a way of explaining something that would have you bash your head against the wall and go, what? And suddenly it all just drops into place. And I witnessed so many beautiful light bulb moments where people just go, and that's it. And that's
just like we
priceless.
talked about today. Nobody thinks about that ring,
The
as the union of the god and goddess and the marriage becoming a golden ring that you put on someone's finger.
They occupy exactly the same place. They are, the ecliptic, as they call it, which is the line the sun travels between the two, tropics. That line called the ecliptic, which is the line that is painted. It's imaginary, but if you saw it, it would be a line that moved along, but like a sine wave, really. But that ecliptic, when the moon crosses the ecliptic, it's called that because that's when an eclipse occurs. And they always.
Or that's why an eclipse is called an eclipse, because it crosses the ecliptic.
Yeah, well, it eclipses it. It eclipses it. So there are two kinds of eclipses: a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse. A solar eclipse where the moon gets in front of the sun, and you can have a partial eclipse where it goes partly over it. You have a total eclipse where it turns day into night, and I've seen that. It's quite pretty impressive. In fact, we had a total eclipse of the moon when Christopher was first over, wasn't he? He was on our driveway drinking gin, looking...
He said, this is quite surreal. I'm in a driveway in New York, across from a cemetery, staring at a blood moon eclipse with a bunch of witches.
Ideal, really.
And we clapped.
And there was gin.
And there was gin.
There was gin. Who could ask for more? But you've got your solar eclipses, and the one that we were talking about, Lisa was talking about, the annular eclipse is where the disk of the moon is just that little bit smaller to not cover the entire sun, and so you get that ring of fire, and that's beautiful sort of marriage symbol of
that golden ring.
The golden ring.
All right, so we will be putting this video up in a different form on YouTube.
Yes.
There will be a link to the class if you want to sign up.
Yes.
It's going to start in January. We don't want to start during the holidays.
Probably best not.
You get Thanksgiving, and then we have
too much
Yule,
muggledom.
Too many distractions. So we're going to start off in the first of the year. So it'll be the last Sunday of the month, all the way through 2022.
Yep, whole year of it.
Other people have asked me to please recommend a Chinese astrology book. And this is the one that I really love.
Do we carry that?
It's out of print and it's old, but you can source it around
Hunt for that, then.
on Abe Books or something. It's by Theodora Lau, and it's called The Handbook of Chinese Horoscopes. And it explains how to do your rising sign and everything.
Ooh.
So you get to see, I'm a rabbit, but I have rooster rising. This is a really cool book. And it also does the 12-year cycle for each sign. So you can look and say, oh, okay, I'm a rabbit, but I'm having a tiger year. And it'll tell you what that does for your sign.
You're going to make Lisa blush, Wendy. I'm going to read this out just because Wendy just said Lisa is the most proficient and perceptive astrologer I have ever met. She comes highly recommended.
Oh my goodness.
Let me just tell you, Wendy knows her onions when it comes to astrology as well.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I honestly think it's because I learned how to look. Where does that come from? Let me look back. Where did that come from? Let me look back. Where did that come from? Let me look again.
Search of correlations.
And correspondences. Or, again, we talked about all these people looking at the night sky, and that's why lunar astrology became so important. You could see more.
That's on my bucket list, you know. I really want to become astral navigation. I so want to become intimately acquainted with the night sky. I really do. And you know, when you're a kid, well, it was a long time ago for me, but my dad learnt astral navigation. He was in the RAF, and he learnt that. I wish I'd learned it from him, you know. He's no longer here, so I haven't got that option. But you know, I'm not dead.
No.
And so I could. So I think that for me, for my own personal bucket list, there is so much you can learn just by looking. But you have to look. You have to look. And we saw some beautiful thing with the dark skies. People have these people now. The dark skies officer from Snowdonia National Park.
Oh, yeah.
People don't go to the beach in the dark anymore. Just lay back and look at the stars. But there's so much. Oh, I'm getting the old goosebumps here. There's just so much. If you think about what astrology itself, Astrologos, it's literally written in the stars. It's written in the stars. If we have the eyes to see.
Right.
And it controls the whole cycles of things, you know, and energies. You know, it all comes down to energy.
So to be a really good witch, a working understanding of the language of astrology could be very helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Again, we've said before that some traditions don't use the zodiac at all. They just know it's the full moon. They don't mind what sign it's in. But I think if you can add that layer, you get a much deeper magical working. Mm-hmm. The other thing that people have asked me a lot about is Celtic lunar astrology, the Ogham. There are 13 lunations. There are 13 Ogham signs. There are tons of books that have come out recently regarding
interesting that.
And I would say to you, all you have to do is check the book that you have to make sure that Willow is the 4th lunation. If Willow is the 4th lunation, you should be fine with that book. The others tend to mix up 3, 4, and 5. Yeah. Ash, Alder, and Willow get jostled around. But if you have Willow as 4, that book is probably a better book for your reference. Okay, so Wendy, when we put up our YouTube video tomorrow or so, when we get around to it and get ourselves cloned, if you put that quote as a recommendation for the class, I would be really honored.
Shameless plugs are always appreciated.
Shameless plugs are always appreciated. All right. So again, you have up till the 19th to plan your prosperity magic. Prosperity will wash dead of me, so mote it be. Yeah. Use this energy of Scorpio and Taurus. Use this energy of that pause, that eclipse, that promise. Know that the universe is joyfully abundant.
Yep.
And look down in the description for the link to our astrology class, because we're going to have a blast teaching it.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. It's there is a couple of head bleeding moments, but you get guided through it gently. There is an innate complexity to it, or inherent complexity to it.
But it's an interesting thread. It's an embroidery.
It is. It literally is this magical tapestry woven by the stars, and it is. It's like this. It's beautiful, and there's so much to be gained. We think about what the purpose of life is. We all sometimes just get our heads down, and we're just there's so many ironies. Like, let's have a moment of silence for those people stuck in traffic on their way to ride the gymnasium to ride a stationary bicycle. What is the chuffing point in that? What is the point? Live life. The purpose of life is to live. And it was George Carlin that said, life isn't measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. And if you care to look, and if you care to focus on the incredible stuff, there are an awful lot of breathtaking moments, I promise you.
You just have to recognize that.
Yeah, and astrology can lead you right there. And that's,
Well, you understand another layer of that As above, so below.
Peeling back the onion.
As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul.
As the universe,
so the soul. The microcosm, macrocosm. So,
it's all reflections, isn't it?
You learn a lot about yourself in astrology, and you learn a lot about the sky.
So thinking about, it's Magickal Moonday. So thinking about your focus, you've got a couple of weeks to get your act together. This is not a quick short-term gain. This is like long-term preparation. Think about the energy of the ox there, ploughing the ground, really laying the groundwork, the necessary work for your continued and sustained prosperity, putting it bluntly.
Prosperity will wash death off me, so mote it be.
And you got Fish Boy, so let's all talk about washing, eh?
This is card of the day. Card of the day will probably be cut out of the video that we post because it's only card of the day for today, and this video is going to have longevity for a bit because it's going to be advertising our January astrology class.
Kind of.
But my reading for you for today for this card is: listen carefully. Listen carefully. Sometimes we block out what someone is saying because we're too stressed or too busy or too focused on something else. So today's reading from me with this card is listen carefully. That's it.
Interesting.
Simple.
Interesting. Well, thank you for that. I love Fish Boy. Emotions are great. They can work two ways. You can get pulled into an emotional conflict, or you can be the one that offers soothing and harmony. And, water can be terribly destructive, but it can also be incredibly healing. So put your focus on healing and good stuff, today, and try to be the bringer of joyful emotion, of deep, Pisceans, they really do feel, well, this is our Pisces card, by the way, it certainly is for me anyway, Fish Boy. That real, you can soothe, you can heal, you can bring comfort. So do that. And perception is key.
Yep. Good time for building. The moon is waxing.
It is.
I believe the moon's in Sag today.
I believe it is.
And just have a good time. Make yourself laugh.
Yeah, and make others laugh, Be the change you want to see in the world. Be that beacon of joy and happiness and all that fun stuff.
So, look for this video later on our YouTube station
Yes.
when it's top and tailed. And get the link and join up for the astrology class no matter where you are in the world. Yep. It'll be the last Sunday of the month from 1 to 3:30.
That's Eastern time. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, just so you're clear. It is it's just to be totally clear again, it's a course that will be taught in person,
and on Zoom.
And on Zoom. So it requires your attendance at a given time, whether physically in person or
linked
via
on the
Zoom.
It's not one that you can just,
It's not in the can. It's not, I'll get round to it when I get round to it. In our experience, you need that interaction
and
to
we
learn.
leave a half an hour at the end for people to say, I don't get it. Tell me this again.
Sure, no problem. Words fail, diagram follows. You make full and proper use of your iPad during this one.
Exactly. I draw a lot of things. Yes. A lot of colors, a lot of symbols. And basically that's what you're doing. You're taking a language that you speak and you're translating into another picture language, right?
Just the glyphs themselves say so much. Yeah. Say so much. It's incredible. And all of this is yours for the learning. If there's something that I'd love to know.
And
about
after I bought my first astrology book when I was 13, so that's over 40 years ago. And I have in those 40 years sorted out who I think has written the better books on the subject, and that's why those books are included in the class.
Yeah, these are the standards, if you will. Yeah, then none of them are what you might call a right riveting read. You're going to sit down and you're just going to love it from end to end. But as a reference book,
because in the beginning you may not have memorized all the things that Mars does and all the things that this house does and all the things that these aspects do. So you're challenged with these puzzle pieces, but you don't know the picture. These books are the reference where you can say, oh, here's what's happening. And it's pretty doggone accurate.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's spooky. It really is spooky. And yeah, I remember the story of Margot, because Margot predated me. She's no longer with us. She shuffled off this mortal coil, but we loved her. We loved her so much.
2004, I believe she passed.
But she was so lovely, so funny.
Reverend Mother.
Oh, such a shameless sense of humor. I loved it totally. But she was very, very well read and very intelligent, and yeah, I remember the story about her. I wanted to learn about astrology just so I could like shoot it down in flames, because how can this be? You know, for somebody who is very intelligent and very scientific in her nature, how can it be?
Yeah, she was a
how
medical
can
personnel.
it be?
But if the moon affects the tides, and we're mostly water, certainly the moon affects us, and we all know the term lunacy. So.
I'm not sure you can use that anymore, but...
on that note, thank you very much for watching.
Yes.
We'll catch you later.
Yes, thank you so much.
We probably won't be out again today on the Tube of You or the Book of Face, though we may put this video up for your reference.
Yeah, we've got a bit of work to do today. We have all manner of fun stuff, but it will be done.
All
you
right.
know, it will be done.
Peace.
Thank you
Have
so much.
a great Monday.
Please do like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends all about us. All right?
All right.